Okay, so finishing off this first drawing, the casting drawing. Excuse me. The last thing we have to do now is create a multi-leader style. So you see we've got a sort of a totally new sort of a area for leaders and that. Again over here, multi-leader style manager. Left click on that. And we're going to create a new, you see we've got a standard sort of style here, just as in dimensions we've got a standard style, but we're going to create our own little new style and modify it slightly. So click on new, and we're going to call this one dims. So click on continue, and we're going to modify this slightly. So if I look at the leader format, we've got a straight leader. We'll kind of keep the arrowhead size the same as the dimensions, 2.5, just to keep a bit of uniformity. Again, there's lots of things, line types and colors and line weights you can change here. If I pop into leader structure, maximum leader points, this will allow you to kind of pick a few sort of different points. Maybe I'll just kind of demonstrate that. I'll pop that up maybe to 4 and just demonstrate that one when we get this set up, where you can actually pick. If you wanted to kind of go around something, you can pick something. Landing settings, 0.36 here is the current setting. I'm just kind of looking at the notes to see if they get you to change them at all. I don't see anything kind of change. 0.36 is that little sort of bit. I don't know, you probably can't even see it in that little section, that little bit there, but if I kind of make a big change to it, so maybe say make it 3, you should see a larger sort of flat area coming on there when I just click on one of these boxes there. You see that becomes a little bit bigger. 0.36 is a bit small, so maybe landing distance of 2. Give yourself a little bit of a sort of a kink in the line, sort of kind of comes in properly. You can kind of fix angle settings as well. You know that the angle of the line kind of is fixed, but yeah, I just like to kind of pop it in myself, sort of in wherever it kind of suits, rather than putting in a specific angle. But you can fix the angle on that as well. Then coming across to the content section, we've got a multi-leader type is mtext, so you can actually, you know, at the end of this, we're just going to put in a piece of text at the end of our leader, but you could have a block. So if you had a symbol or something you wanted to put in, you could create a block of it and you could attach the block symbol to it. So you could pop that in, or you know, you can have absolutely nothing there. So if you just wanted to draw an arrow, you don't have to have anything kind of attached to it. So just pointing at something, you can have that, or just wanted to draw a plain arrow, you could use that as well. Text style, similar to dimensions, we can kind of get our list there of styles we have currently set. Again, if there's nothing set, you can come in and create one from within here. It takes you into text style dialog box. So again, text angle, keep horizontal, always inserted, always right reading, depending on what you kind of want. So I mean, default is kind of probably mostly suitable. Text height, then I think we're kind of going to change that to 2.5, just to kind of see that. In the book, I kind of just to kind of keep the text height, just to kind of keep it to the same as the text. You should keep all your text the same height, maybe headings or something slightly different, but when you're doing dimensioning and that, everything should be a uniform sort of size. I mean, if we determine 2.5 is okay for dimension text, there's no reason why it shouldn't be okay for this or any text, any ordinary sort of lines of text in it. So when you decide on a text height, stick with it. And maybe your only variation would be headings and things like that. Landing gap, I'm just kind of looking at the book, and the book kind of gets you to put that to 0. If you kind of look here, it's the gap between here and the actual. If I change that to 0, you see what I'm saying? Kind of puts the landing right over beside the default text. Not really a nice thing to kind of do. I'd kind of leave it at 2. Give yourself a bit of a gap. I think it just looks wrong, kind of coming in at that size. Click OK, and we've set this current. So we've now got our leader style current. We can pick from here as well, remember. So multi-leader, the only time I use this, select the nearest option. So I can just bring it on screen so you can see it. So select the nearest. Only time is when I'm doing something like this. When I pull away, you see there until I actually get that line sort of far enough away that I can physically put the arrowhead in, it doesn't actually put the arrowhead in. And I know sometimes people make the mistake of making the arrowhead too big, and then they go drawing the line and they're left with a sort of leader like that, and they're wondering why the arrowhead didn't come in. It's usually because you have the arrowhead too big and the leader line too short. But we're okay, we're kind of way back up here, so we'll easily get to there. You remember we kind of had let you pick a few points and it stopped at that 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if you remember that. I'll just kind of type in some text there just to kind of keep it going for a while. So we had 1 point, my pick point, 2, 3 and 4. Do that again. So my multi-leader, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it stops. If I go back into my escape there, let me just put the arrow in. Go back into here again. Sorry, I had to do modify. So there's leader points. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the 4 leader points I kind of had. I'm just going to show you something else while I'm in here, what I kind of thought of it. I'll leave it at 4. Because if you're doing a leader, sometimes you kind of do actually have to go around objects. So if I kind of point there. Oops. So I kind of some text typed in there, so I was pointing at something and I wanted to get round an object. You see that that's kind of jerky and a bit sort of straight. I kind of like to use this other option. If I go back into multi-leader, I'm going to modify. In leader format, the type of line is a straight line. This option here is spline. I think looks far neater. If I click OK to that and close that, then yeah. Then when I do my sort of multi-leader, you know, you can kind of get it kind of curving round. Kind of looks better if it kind of curves around it as opposed to the straight line, and you know, you can kind of, if you want to, you can modify that to make it look even better, and if you haven't picked the right point. So it kind of looks better if you kind of just have it curving round rather than those sort of straight lines. Kind of looks better for a leader. That. So that was just in there. I'll just go back into that again. Modify. It was in leader format, just changing your line type to a spline instead of a straight line. Just a little kind of a side thing. Close that down. I'm going to leave it at that now with the spline, and we'll kind of see the rest of these then. Yeah, so again, nearest. What am I supposed to type in here? Find out what this is meant to be. Oh yeah, M10. So M10 is your leader there, and then up here, then we've got another leader. And if I right click, I don't have to actually pick the 4 points, you see that? Although I've kind of still got the 4 points set for my leader. If you kind of look, if I kind of go pick that as my first point, that as my second point, I can just go right click and it automatically stops. It doesn't. I don't have to pick 4. Although I have 4 set, if I just right click, it'll kind of, it's like hitting return. Now it's looking and entering my text, so it's 4 holes. And percent C and 10, so percent C and 10 gives me 4 holes by diameter 10. You do know that you can get these symbols in here, just a little reminder, percent C is diameter, so they are available there, but if you remember percent C, it makes life so much easier. So that's your leaders. Last little thing to do then is just finish off on this view up here, finish off the dimensions here. We've got a sort of 10 mil dimension there, and a dimension there, and then a continuous dimension there. see it's crossing. We'll fix that in a second. And then another dimension there. And again, continuous to there. Again, that's crossing. And then a radius dimension. Radius 10. I think that's all. Let's fix up those two that we have kind of crossing each other. So it's this one here. This is the dimension you want to change. If I right click and move text alone, it lets me grab the text and just place it in the right position. Same here. Left click. If you're kind of unsure, you see where that was kind of crossing over. I was unsure which 5 to pick or which 2. If you're unsure, if you pick on the actual dimension, you don't have to go in there and try and pull out the text from that. If you left click on the dimension, right click, and it's move text. Move text alone, and we can pop that dimension over there, just in a better spot than where it was. Okay, so well, that's the general idea of it anyway.